when you see them in person for the first time, you know you're in the presence of a different level of greatness. Jon Jones is one of those guys. Saw him fight Daniel Cormier a few years ago, and he's fighting Saturday at UFC 235 in Vegas. It is must watch, and it's really cool that he's joined us now here on the show. Jon, appreciate you, man. Thanks for making time for us.
Hey, Bill, thanks so much for having me on the show, man. I'm pretty excited. Thank you.
We're excited to interview you. I want to get the question about the last 4 years out of the way, but I'm interested in it. It's the first time on Saturday since 2015 you'll be fighting in consecutive fights without a suspension. When you look back at those 4 years, lessons learned, criticisms, mistakes, all the drama that's gone on, how has it changed you as a fighter? How has it changed you as a person?
Oh man, it's changed me a lot, man. It's given me the opportunity to just look at myself within and just tackle some of my own demons and just to grow. That's the way you look at adversities, opportunities to grow. And sure enough, today I feel just more in touch with myself and I just feel better than ever. I'm just really excited for the good and the bad. It just lets you know you're alive.
Not a secret, you're a very talented guy and you're a big draw for the UFC. For you, why is the Anthony Smith fight the fight that you wanted to take that was right for you at this stage?
Anthony Smith, he's just been a great representative of our sport. I think right now the time is now for us to meet with each other. He's been dominating some of his last opponents. He's knocked out 2 former champions since he's moved up to the light heavyweight division. He's developed a strong fan base. He's extremely just talented, and I think the time is right now. There's no better time for us to meet up.
As you look at him as an opponent, whether it's you're studying tape or you're getting ready your game plan, what are the things against Anthony that you need to do, that you want to do to get the outcome that you're hoping for on Saturday?
Game plan wise, we have a lot of tactics that we believe will land on him, but for the most part, we don't really come up with too strong of a game plan. We have some general, just kind of ideas and things, but we just believe in and being capable of almost anything and just allowing the body in the moment to just take over and just being an artist and just creating.
So you're doing media right in the lead up, and then on Saturday you'll be, even before Saturday, but you'll be liberated to kind of focus on when you're going to step in that octagon. From the moment you wake up on Saturday, what's the Jon Jones routine up until it's go time?
So usually I'll wake up, I'll have a big breakfast with my teammates, and then we'll find a really nice place in the city we're at to meditate for a while. We always try to find a beautiful park or like a waterfall, things like that, just to find that kind of like serenity and peace right before the fight. And that's pretty much our tradition. And then I'll go back to the hotel room and I'll take a nap, wake up, and say a prayer with my parents. And then I'll just head to the arena, filled with just great energy, and just be the artist that I'm capable of being.
I can't speak for DC, and we've had him on the show a lot, friend of the show, but I personally, as a fan of the sport, would love to see the trilogy between you guys. And after, I think it was the Gustafsson fight, when Cormier won that fight, you made it pretty clear that you also wouldn't mind that happening. What was your confidence level then? What's your confidence level now that that's ever going to take place?
I believe that it will take place if the fans desire it enough. I think it's up to the UFC to just make it happen, just to sit us both down, come up with a contract that'll make sense for both of us, and just to make it happen. That's one thing we're good about here at the UFC. We always give the fans what they want, pretty much when they want it. So I'm pretty sure the fight's inevitable. It's going down.
DC said on this show and other shows, but certainly here, he doesn't want to fight you again because he doesn't want to go through being disappointed. But he also said recently, and I think he's right, that you two are just on a different level in terms of fighters, that it's just a different thing. What is it about you and DC in your weight class that makes the gulf between you and the rest of the fighters so wide?
I think DC would love the narrative to be that me and him are on a completely different level. But the facts are I've beaten Daniel Cormier twice. I believe, and I know this sounds arrogant, but I believe that I'm on a different level, and DC's on that level right below my level. And I think what makes me at the level that I am is just my passion. It's my sheer passion. A lot of people can talk about being passionate. They can talk about being a hard worker, but man, I live, breathe, eat this stuff. I'm totally convinced that God put me on earth to do this, where other people just look at it as a job that they want to be good at. I'm convinced that I was born to do this. I believe that I'm anointed to do this, and I think that's the difference.
And certainly so far, when you've been in the octagon, you have shown that it is very difficult, albeit impossible, for people to beat you. At least so far, why can't anyone in that light heavyweight division beat Jon Jones?
Well, I think everyone is capable of doing it. I think it's always a possibility. I pray before every fight that God's will is done, and I work extremely hard to make their chances really, really slim. And so far, I've come out on top.
And what about like a super heavyweight fight, a Brock Lesnar, or just some super fight with Jon Jones? Is that on the radar for you? Is that something that in your brain you've got a name or two that at some point you think would be really interesting for fans and for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know for a fact myself versus Francis Ngannou will be gigantic, right? He's just big and scary. How cool would that be, right? With all respect to him. Myself versus Stipe Miocic, who has the most heavyweight titles, ever. He's considered the greatest heavyweight of all time. I know the fans will be excited about that. Cain Velasquez is another one that would be a huge fight for the UFC. And then obviously the biggest one is, probably DC just because of our history.
Yeah, I mean, I'd pay for the UFC fights on pay-per-view, as other folks should too, including UFC 235. I would pay double for each of those fights. All right, Jon Jones, love the time. I think we're your last interview, so it's been great. But I got one last question for you before you can go into, thinking about Saturday mode. I just got one. Give me as specific a prediction as you can. I know every guy asks you this, every interview asks you this, but do you have a vision in your mind how you think this is going to actually play itself out on Saturday?
I am really prepared to win the fight wherever it may go, but it wouldn't surprise me if I ended up taking him down and ground and pounding him half to death.
I love it. I love the specific answer. Jon, I love watching you
Much, man.
fight. I enjoyed interviewing you. Hey, I liked it, man. Good luck on Saturday, and hopefully we'll talk again soon.
Hey, thanks so much. That was fun. Thanks for having me.